today we have some really good shit, really, really good stuff. So I just had this conversation privately with my VIPs, and I want to say this out there in Facebook land as well. We are focusing specifically all of the content in the next little bit for these specific trainings, for the Thursday trainings, the VIP trainings every single week that we're going to be doing. Last week, this week, all going to be related to ad stuff. If you did not see it, last week was about SLOs. It's about how some of the top names in the industry, some of which we are running these ads for them, this is how I know this shit, are generating 100% free leads on Facebook using ads. Crazy, right? But it's because they're leveraging something called a self-liquidating offer. If you do not have any idea what I'm talking about, and it sounded really cool, and you wish you saw it last week, and you need the replay, and you're out there in Facebook land, drop me a hashtag replay, please and thank you, or just say, please, Cody, SLO, or just drop an SLO, or comment like 4 times. I don't give a fuck, but comment on the thing so that we know to get you the replay of last week, and so that I know we're getting a little engagement. You guys know how it is. So otherwise, drop a hashtag live if you're out there catching this shit live. Hashtag replay if you happen to see this next week, the week after, or years in the future. Make sure you make a comment about how nice I used to look when I was young, and make me sure that I know I'm an asshole because I'm all gray in the future, right? Let's make sure that that's going on. Today, guys, is going to be a really, 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 really good one. So the first reason I'm talking about all this first is just because the SLO thing last week. Today, we're talking about some ad stuff. We're going to be talking about ad stuff, I think, for the next few weeks. So let me know down in the comments. And if you're here on the VIP and you're just joining us, whether you're agreeable with that, or if you'd like us to shift course. These Thursday trainings, these VIP sessions, these are specifically supposed to be designed about whatever the hell it is you guys want to be learning, right? I just happen to know a lot about this, and I think it's super useful. So this is the direction I'm going. So drop it in the comments, drop it in the chat, whatever you want. Let me know how you feel about that. Second thing, guys, you might be noticing all around me, there seems to be some very important looking people. If you're out there on Facebook and you're like, well, why? Why, Cody? Why aren't I a very important person? I can make you one if you want. You just got to go to joingsd.com/diamond-membership. And if you want a really good deal, you put one more dash in. And it's a 7. That link is above this in the comments. You can click that. You can join them. They get private coaching sessions every single week. They get to join me on these live trainings, and they get some really cool courses and stuff. So if you want to check that out, go to it, join us. Otherwise, we're going to jump into some stuff. So today, guys, specifically, what we are talking about is something that I found really, really cool. So we had somebody come into the GSD recently. We've had all kinds of people actually recently in the GSD who wanted to crush their own business and then build an agency or a coaching program, which a niche that you wouldn't even imagine. This person actually, I mean, I think Rahul can tell me, she found us through a blog. Is that what it was? A blog?
Yeah. I'm going to record this whole thing if you don't mind. Is that cool with you?
No, don't. I don't want to be on videos. Do you have a dog?
No, that's not mine. Somebody, whoever's got to unmute it. I don't.
Yeah, record me. Yeah. But so should this girl, this person us through a blog on our website from forever ago. I don't even know. I'm going to mute everybody because I can still hear mumbles and dogs. Hold on one sec. Mute. There we go. All right. And found us through a blog. So SEO for the win. And it was about some, because, you know, agency Custom Creative has been around a long, long time. So there was some success story about helping a contractor business or something like that. She came through that. And what we were told at that point was, hey, I actually want to start an agency or a SaaS or a coaching program or something to help other remodelers. But I've been working on my own ads with a few different agencies and all this stuff, and they absolutely suck. We've set up a couple of little things and we've gotten nothing, really no leads. I looked at the back end, nothing. They're like, if we have kind of gotten some sales, and I have no idea if it's from this, and we looked at it's not, right? It's just the old thing. Where'd the phone call come from? Where'd the feet in the door come from? We don't know. And so the concept was, can you guys teach me to crush it? And then can I then go validate that and go move on to actually doing the agency side? It's like, okay, well, let's do that then. And so today what we're going to be talking about is the process we went through. So in 2 short months, we went from that, which is, for lack of a better word, nothing, starting fresh, to relaunching her high level, creating her ads, going through a testing process. And just last week, in the last 7 days, she said she spent $750 on the ads and has $150,000 in profit worth of jobs from that. Okay. So disclaimer time. Do not expect these results for yourself. I cannot guarantee you $150,000 in profit off of $700 in ads. But I am telling you a real story about something that really did just happen. And I want to tell you why quite often I'm able to repeat this kind of shit no matter what weird ass niches come my way. Some of you guys have been in the circle long enough to see that I've written ads for things like limousine companies for wine tours. I've also written ads for things like clown colleges. I'm not fucking kidding. And every single time, most of the time, 99% of the time, I get the within results that the clients will be happy with, no matter what it is. That's because we have a process that we teach inside the GSD. We have a system that we follow. Super, super, super important. And so today, what I'm going to do for this training, Thursday's training, is I am going to kind of break that down. What did we do specifically? What was the result? And how did we actually get there? So what actually happened? Well, $700 in ad spend, 150K in profitable jobs. Type of business, contractor business. Okay, so now what did we do? First thing you have to do in any situation, part one, we'll call it, is the audit. Okay, what does this mean? Strengths, weaknesses of the team. Strengths, weaknesses of the offer. And how long did this take us? It took us 2 months to get to this point. Okay, so this is super important. And it's part that a lot of people just leave out. They're like, my thing is plug and play, fuck it, I'm going, right? The issue with that is if you have an extraordinarily weak sales team, or you don't have the ability to have setters, or you don't have a good offer at all, it all kind of starts to fall apart. Or if you have a plug and play offer for that industry that they're not willing to actually use, again, it starts to fall apart, right? So in this case, we got to see, okay, they say they got a really strong offer. Herself has been historically good at actually closing deals in this situation. She's worked potentially with cold traffic before, and her process isn't, hey, pay me $50,000. It was a very nice, like, I'm going to talk to you, we're going to go do a measurement, we're going to get you quoted, we're going to move this along. Also, the secondary thing here is she was willing to play into a proven pain point over the last few years. So if you're doing like a remodel, you might have been pushing it off for the last couple of years because COVID, right? And everybody remembers how much the lumber costs and labor costs and all of that shit went whoop right through the roof over the last few years. Well, all of that stuff is kind of coming down now. And so you're able to kind of lean into that. Hey, have you been sitting on the sidelines waiting to build your dream XYZ for 2 years because of all how high the expenses were? Everything's come down. We can guarantee you this. We'll give you this discount. Let's talk about it and get that done. And so we're able to really play into that scarcity time role. And so all of those pieces kind of came together and we said, okay, cool. So then we did an audit of what the other people were doing. I'm just going to breeze right past that because those ads were garbage. 9 times out of 10, when you look at other people's accounts, you know,
hold on. 1 sec. Before you go into the juice real quick, the one thing Cody just mentioned is those other people, right? So that's important to know. Some of you guys are running ads, doing things. It didn't work. Your past is predicting your future. That's why this works, is when the past doesn't predict the future and you just leave the past and fuck that. When you just focus on what your future beholds, you'll always have that open-mindedness and you'll have the upside. You'll take the risk, you'll get the rewards. That's something super important because sometimes we feel like a coach fucked me over, all coaches do, and you get the only person who hurts is like yourselves, ourselves. So that's the important part of this story too, is to get past like getting screwed over by somebody that took 20 grand, that didn't do anything with ads, that locked them out of their own systems. They didn't have access to their own GHL. They couldn't move it or migrate it. So that's kind of the lay of the land as Cody kind of migrates into what the new era holds for her.
And I like to point out too, like everybody here is who has said the words, oh, I don't know if I want to work with these people because this niche is oversaturated on their journey. Raise your hand. Good guy. Come on, guys. Don't be liars. There we go. Right. So here's my issue with that. And it's based around something Rahul just said. What Rahul basically just explained is there's already a villain in their story. You know what that makes it a hell of a lot easier to be? The hero, right? When I first started my agency 10, more than 10 years ago now, 11, 12, whatever, what my job was to convince you even needed to use Facebook. You had to have a Facebook page, that Google was super important, right? That was an explain and educate job. Now, what you guys are already preset with is a villain to the story, which can create you as the hero. Contrast. And one of the easiest ways to sell anything is to develop contrast between something else and yourself. So if you've done your market research properly, you've probably learned why they fired their previous marketing company, why people within that niche don't work with those people anymore, so that you can contrast yourself with that. So now that we've done the audit, we figured all of that out, what do we do next? Next, we develop out offers. So part 2, right, is develop the scary offer. So again, what do we do for scary offer? Big end result plus customer language plus specificity plus risk reversal. That is the scary offer formula. Works very well for soap ads, which we'll get into in just a second. So for this instant, I already talked about it a little bit. We want to also engage in a little bit of emotion, because people buy on emotion, clarity and emotion, and you'll be able to develop buyers. Clarity, certainty, emotion, all that stuff, right? And so we've already talked about what are most people doing. They're putting off their dream kitchens. They're putting off their dream renovations. It's one of those excess expenses, and the price of wood, price of everything's gone through the roof. So we'll play on that emotion. On top of that, we want to give them a big, big end result. So in her case, she was able to say $2,000 off, and she was able to say that on average in her area, she's something like 20 to 50% cheaper already than her competitors. So she already has a price differentiator, and she's willing to give an extra additional bonus on top of that. On top of that, what do we all fucking hate about contractors? Let's all say it at once. Delays. They don't get shit done on time, right? I get that a lot of them are overpriced, but it's basically a famous saying at this point. So we also guaranteed that the work would be done within, I think, 2 to 4 weeks from the time that it was signed up. So you can see how strong of an offer and how strong of a play this really is. We have specificity in the timeline, and we have specificity in the amount off that they get, right? We have a big end result in the discount and the percentage off. We have risk reversal in the sense that they're guaranteeing it within a certain amount of time. And we have customer language because of all the different pain points and expressions that we're talking about, where they're trying to get their dream kitchen. You've been delaying throughout COVID. All of this is talking specifically to an individual. Everybody see how that works? Yeah? Okay. So now the interesting thing and the best part about this kind of an offer, and everybody who's ever learned from me on this scary offer application process ads, the SOAP ads, right, knows that for round 2, we need a couple of different offers. Built into this already, we have 3, 4, 5 different headlines, offers, stuff. $2,000 off, 50% cheaper than our competitors, guaranteed to be done within a few weeks. Have you been putting off your dream kitchen forever, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, easy to create these different offers. So now we have our structure, and we move forward. So now with every single client, what we do is start frictionless. So part 3, frictionless data. Okay, what does that mean? What is the easiest, most frictionless way to create beginning information on Facebook? Somebody tell me in the chat. And you guys, a lot of you guys have been around me long enough to know. So what is the most frictionless campaign type to start getting data so that we can learn things? I do a drum roll, I wait. Somebody must be paying attention. Nope, not that one, not that one. Nope, nope. All right, so no, lead forms, guys, lead forms, lead forms, lead forms. What is the most frictionless way to set up a campaign? Lead forms, okay? Why? Lead forms, because you don't need to build a landing page. You don't need anything, okay? Now, what do we get with lead forms? Understanding that it might be slightly less qualified, but high volume initial data. And honestly, lead forms have gotten a lot better with quality lately as well. Why we do this first is it allows us to quickly find right person, think audience, right? To combine with right offer. Okay. So always what we're doing with all of our clients is if they don't have a proven history of ads, meaning they have either failed a bunch of times with everybody else, or they've literally never run ads before. The first thing that we run through is the rapid fire testing process, but we run it with frictionless things so that you can test. I don't want to spend 3 weeks, thousands of dollars on building funnels and shooting VSLs and doing all of this shit just to put it out in front of the market. And they say, too bad, I don't care. Because what is the point? Now you got to go back to the client and say, cool, well, we got to test a new offer. So shoot all these extra videos and maybe take a couple more pictures and let's write new long form copy and let's do all this shit. And every single time it's like, if you've read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, and he's talking about pushing the giant flywheel and you get all that momentum on that giant wheel and you just grind it to a halt. And you just move it over here and you start all over again. And then you wonder why 2 months in, you only got to test like 3 ads and your clients fired you because you didn't do shit. Right? Throw your hands in the air and you say, ooh, but I did everything I was supposed to. But there's a better way. And so in our situation, what we always do and what we always teach people to do is create this frictionless thing and then move into things that create better quality later on. So now we're doing this. Okay, cool. So we're doing part 4 is now the rapid fire testing process for ads. Okay. So we've done our audit, we've created our offer, we understand the setup is going to be a frictionless starting point. So now we do rapid fire testing. So for rapid fire testing, I always like to bring up this visual because we have this infographic inside of the Inner Circle program. So you have our base campaign set up and then we move into rapid fire testing. So what is the concept, the purpose of rapid fire testing before I move over to this graphic? The purpose is to isolate individual variables to test. That's it. Most people, and I'll call them noobs because that's my favorite word for people when they suck. Most people who are brand new at this kind of shit use what I call the spaghetti method. Honestly, there's a lot of vets that do this too. They learn how to optimize, but they don't learn how to isolate. And so what happens is you build a bunch of different ads, right? And with those different ads, you're like, okay, cool. Let me just throw it all against the wall and see what sticks. I got 4 different audiences. I got 6 different ads in each one. Let me just throw that all against the wall and I'll just slowly whittle away till I find a winner. And then woohoo, I've got a winner. But you don't learn anything from that. You don't have building blocks because what worked? Was it the audience? Was it the headline? Was it the image? I don't know. And neither do you. So the rapid fire testing process, which is a key component to this whole thing that we're talking about right now, allows you to isolate individual variables and slowly learn from it. Okay. So what I mean by this is, what are we trying to do with the core concept of every single marketing campaign ever? We're trying to match the right offer to the right person, which means in ads term, we need to find the right audience for the right message. We find those 2 things together, and then all of the heavy lifting you think you have to do, building the funnel, shooting the videos, creating different things like that, are simply to optimize. So yeah, now you have something that works, but you need to create a little more friction, a couple more questions, shit to create a little bit better quality, a little bit better conversion rate. But if you don't start by finding the thing that fucking works, then you've wasted all of your time. Is that making sense, guys? Drop me a 1 in the chat or a 1 out there in Facebook land in the comments if that makes sense. Good. So now we can kind of migrate over here to this. So what are we doing? Rapid fire testing. Number 1, testing round 1, audiences. 1 basic ad per audience. You take your scary offer, you create what I call a control ad. Okay, so for real estate, what we used to do was we had 30 guaranteed appointments that actually show up to the call every 30 days. So literally the control ad, the first one we ever launched, had those words on a giant picture because that's 90% of your real estate on ads. And then the ad was basically, hey, real estate agents, are you tired of wasting all day long with shitty leads and book calls that never show up? What if you could have 30 guaranteed calls every 30 days that are absolutely backed to show up to the call because we confirm them, we set them, we qualify them all directly for you. Click here to claim that offer. Simple, direct to the point, exactly built around that scary offer concept. We take that same ad, isolate the variable. That ad is just the scary offer, and we put it in 3 to 4 audiences. So put in the chat or the comments out there in Facebook land, what specific thing is different in this part of the campaign so far? What's the only thing that's different? I will wait all day. Yep, audiences. Exactly. So we've isolated the variable, audiences. Then what we're going to do is we're going to wait a few days, okay? Is there a clear distinction between the audience cost per conversion? Meaning, does one audience cost $40 per lead and the other one costs 10? Cool, kill the 40s. If one is 10, 11, 12, and the other one's like 40, you kill the 40, you leave the 10, 11, 12. You're looking to have 2 to 3 winners, maybe 4, if you've tested a whole bunch of them at this point. And then you move on. Next, we're doing hooks and offers, meaning the first line of the text and the headline on the thing, right? So in this case, we were doing, right, the 2K off, the 50%, the timeline stuff, all of that can be different headlines, different stuff, right? And so in this case, we've now got all these ads in each of the winning audiences. So we already know the audiences are winners, and now we're isolating. Put it in the chat. Headlines, offers, correct. So by the end of round 2, if it works, right, and in our case, it told us enough, what we've got now is right person, right offer. Round 3 is now creatives. And this is where it got really good for us, for on this one. And Cheyenne's actually here. Wave, Cheyenne. We're talking about you today. Wave. Say hello. Everybody give her a round of applause. This is where it got really good. So once we got to round 3, we know at the core, we have good offer, good audience, because we were getting measures with her thing. All right. She was getting a little bit of success. She was seeing that happen, but the lead cost started to go up. This is fine. And I want you guys to all understand that when you're talking to your clients, these are the situations where you're going to have to set expectations. Okay. Because when you start frictionless, you get hot and heavy leads, and then sometimes it's going to fluctuate, and they're going to look at things in the micro instead of the macro and all that kind of stuff. And so your job is to look at the actual data. And so for us, we looked at the data and we found that there was measurements happening, and we counted the money, and we're like, okay, we're really profitable. But then we're like, yeah, but let's do better. So we did, and we went in, and this part was round 3, which is creatives. Now for round 3, this is an ongoing process. You decide copy, images, headlines. I felt mostly that we had pretty decent copy. So first thing we did specifically was we tested some images, some graphics. We did up some nice looking graphic design, that kind of stuff. And we saw a slight recoup down. We got our lead cost down a little bit more. It was still a little higher than we wanted, but we went through that round. We whittled down some more ads, and we decided, okay, we can do video ads now that we have the right offer. And this is the other thing. You don't even want to, the reason round 3 and we get to videos last after all this other stuff is because it takes time and effort, right, to put into these videos. You don't want to be shooting a bunch of videos and VSLs and copy and funnels and all this shit until you know the message and the person you're talking to. So we got to the point where, okay, we know this. And at that point we said, all right, shoot some video ads. The video ads went in. Now we have right audience, right message, right creative, and the leads got to a good cost. And then they started to have a lot of measures and get to that point that we were talking about there. At that point, this was about, I want to say a week ago now is when we finally got to that point. So that was about 2 months in to hit that kind of a result, right? Now, at that point, again, you're going to have to do a couple of different things if this was your client, right? You're going to have to shift to phase 2, or you're going to have to start to scale. So it depends on the client. In our case, Cheyenne loves shooting videos. So she shot a bunch more videos, some educational content. It was absolutely fantastic. So we were able to do retargeting, and we're able to create educational content that we're doing at a very low cost to be able to fuel the rest of the campaign. But now she's got a result, right? Now she's got the ability to take that result and go build a coaching program or an agency or whatever to other people. We're in the process right now of helping her launch a beta product and all that stuff based around that. But what I want you guys to take away from this today specifically, right, is that process, that 4-step process. 1, audit. What does that mean? Audit what they've done before. audit the offers they've tried, the functionality, the campaigns, all of that stuff to see if there's anything worth keeping, anything that you want to push forward, anything that you can contrast with. 2, offer. Scary offer process. That scary offer process, guys, that I've taught you guys, and who here has never heard me say that before? Raise your hand if you've never even heard me say scary offer before. Good, good. Paying attention. Because that scary offer is perfect for ads, right? That's your control ad right there. And then 3, rapid fire testing process. 4, soap ads. Then once you get to this point, we haven't even done this with her yet. So this is a key point to talk to you guys about. Once I get to this exact point with most clients, we do one of 2 things. We don't fucking touch it, or we'll go and we'll start to now create funnels, VSLs, all of that kind of stuff. Why? One reason is because sometimes, and I will tell you from as a guy who uses lead forms at the beginning of almost every campaign, unless the client already has a good offer, good everything else, we don't have to do as heavy of testing. Lead form quality has gotten a lot better over the years. I would say at least 50% of the time now, we don't even migrate away from lead forms to other shit anymore. Whereas it used to be, I would say 75-25, unless it was a group growth campaign, we'd leave it on lead forms because it's just higher volume. So you're going to get to the point here where now you've got your testing data. At this point, as a marketer, you should be plugged into their sales team. You need some sort of feedback loop. Okay. A really big issue that a lot of marketers and agencies and all this stuff have is you guys live in like an isolation pocket. And you're just like, I'm going to talk to my client once a month and they're going to tell me everything's great or everything's fucked. And then you get fired, excuse my language, and you wonder why. And it's almost always because of confusion. It's almost always because, I mean, if you put yourself in their shoes, let's think about this for a second. You put yourself in their shoes, right? You hired these people, you paid them thousands of dollars. A couple of months in, you've had, some leads, but most of the conversations with those leads have sucked. I haven't actually made any money yet. Let's call it $5,000 out, $0 in. I've had maybe a couple of good conversations, but I don't know what's going on. I'm getting some stuff in some CRM that they gave me. And other than that, I really don't know. They talk to me once a month. I'm confused now. What do you think is going to happen when they lose a client and they lose a little bit of money and they go look at their expenses and they're like, oh man, this was a rough month. What would you honestly do? You'd fire the marketing department. You'd fire that guy. Now flip that on its head and have an open loop of communication. I've been a project manager for a long time, and I've had to go through a lot of this with a lot of large people, large companies who are spending, $100,000 a month on ads sometimes. And the difference maker for me that I have really learned is just making sure that you understand that every single time you're talking to a customer, it's a sales call. All you're doing now is you're selling them on what you've done, where it's going, and how it's going to benefit them. Because if they get confused, then you're the big expense you cut. But if they're spending money on you and you can actually get them certain that it's on the right path, even if you haven't gotten profitable yet, but you can show them that you're making moves towards this. And this is a big thing, not only with what we're talking about today, because in the beginning, you turn one ad on and the other one does this, and maybe the lead sucks. Like you got to be able to express, hey, this is why that is, and here's where we are in the process. And now you tell them, cool, we're going to get to here soon. Here's all the momentum we've built up behind us. And here's where we're going to get to. Is it making sense, guys? And to answer the quick question that Erica just put in. So she said in the chat, are they making $0 in that process? Is everything out of pocket? Or are they typically breaking even after the first phase? This is going to be different for everybody. So it's not a one size fits all. I have had clients that get through the testing phase and they're still making $0, but I've learned what I need to learn and we can now move on and you're going to start making money soon. I've had clients that are making, this specific issue right here, we're not even into the testing phase and look at that, right? I've also had clients that are about breaking even, but you can tell that the momentum is starting to build. We have one high ticket coaching client right now that we have that I think, he told us we made another sale yesterday. I think we're just profitable now, 2 months in. but we're now getting where in the beginning it was trickling through. Some people were missing, some conversations were happening. We're now seeing multiple calls booked, all the old calls coming back, all the sales processes that take a little longer, right? So those closes are now going to start to snowball and will be profitable within month 3. It's that kind of expectation setting that you have to set.
Well, you have to set it not only for your clients, but also for yourselves. You guys got to believe it so they can believe it. So you have to practice what you also preach as well. Because like, think about this, a couple different scenarios. Let's say I was starting a restaurant and I had to do T&I. It's probably, let's just for argument's sake, I'll do a low number. It's going to cost $100,000 just to fix the shit up, right? Then I got to pay the rent. Then I still have no staff and I still have no alcohol. I still have no food, no inventory. So now for argument's sake, we'll go with 10 grand rent or 5 grand. Fuck it. Let's say it's a small location in a cheaper town. So we're at $105,000 in month 1, no customers, no employees. The staffing will cost 10 every single month if they're cheap, right? Like terrible staff, 10 grand. Then we got to get the inventory. Then we got to get the alcohol. So we're front loading all this shit. Their break-even point isn't going to be for like 3 or 4 years. Now, when it comes to ads, we are the fuel that keeps those fuckers in business, right? Now if they spend, because they have a couple choices at this stage, do it the way you've been doing it, and good luck. You'll be a statistic. After 3 years, you'll be out. That's what's just going to happen. Or if they could spend the cost of one shitty receptionist or hostess just into marketing, they can thrive and have that second location within 2 to 3 years, instead of going out of business. So we got to just frame it totally differently. It's not how quick can I get my money back? It's how quick can I break even so we can scale this thing. So now we have consistency time over time over time. Right? Because like, look what college did for all you guys. Was that fucking successful? You went. Some of you guys are still paying it off, right? So we can't ask that question. Hey, if I take this philosophy class as freshman year, when will I ROI on it? We didn't ask that question. So let's not start asking those questions too soon now. We got to get proof of concept first, right? Because if I had the crystal ball, I'm going to own 75% of your business because now I control you. If I already knew how much money to spend, how much money you'll make, I'm going to own every business I ever touch, right? But the good part about marketing is half of it works. The bad part about marketing is we don't know which half. So that's how we set the expectation. We just have to get a customer that falls in line with that, because we don't have the magic bullet. There's nothing we can do to say when your break even is. It's almost like SEO people. Can you guarantee somebody page 1 rankings? You could, you might be lying, you could, but you can't do it in a very specific time frame. You just don't control that. So that's why the yin and the yang of me and Cody is like, I'll help present it, frame it, set it up, and then he's good at setting the expectations and executing on it. Because there's just 2 parts to everything. In case some of you guys haven't said this in a long time, but I call it the R&R, the 2 R's that are important. The outcome people want is the results. That's what they're hiring us for. What keeps them in staying and sticky, even absent of a result as quick as we thought it would be, is the relationship and rapport we build. So the results is the outcome, the relationship what keeps them staying. So that's what we're selling on both sides. Are we adaptable? Are we authoritative enough? Are we knowledgeable enough? Are we fun enough? Can we find a common ground with them where it's fun and business at the same time? Then we're stickier inherently, because most people will get fired in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. With a really good relationship, you're going to build good expectations. You can double or triple your life expectancy if your results are lackluster. Because the smart thing to do is keep in contact with the customers. The not smart thing to do is avoid them and don't reply to their emails and think they forgot and wait for the next email. Because sometimes when you get shitty results, people do that. They feel embarrassed and they think, oh, thank God they didn't reach back out. They forgot. I'll just keep going. We don't want that. We just got to stay in front of it, because everything we're doing is a life lesson. We want to get better and better at our skill. And when these clients are giving us a chance to say, we'll pay you, you make a profit, we're going to take 0 profit and a risk on you, we get the opportunity to learn more and more and more. So every cancellation is a really good learning lesson on how to avoid it for the next time too. If that ever happens to you guys, it happens to all of us. So the day you get hired is the day the client probably wants to fire you too. Just remember that. So we're always fighting for our jobs. The only way we can fight for our jobs is be so valuable that we control their revenue. We control what their children eat because our marketing puts food on the table because we're profitable. So you guys are pretty powerful people. Thought I'd give you a little bit of a break there, Cody.
Yeah, no, I'm done anyway. We're done. We're going to move into the VIP session. That was it. So I just wanted to let you give your insight on that. But yeah, guys, that was the process followed to do it. So then I gave you, hopefully you guys are clear on that, the testing process, the setup process, and then the next steps of if and when we need to do the next thing is to take all that stuff that we learned to be profitable and go actually build out assets if needed. Right now, it doesn't look like we do need to. So now we just continue to optimize what's already there and just sell more of those people, have more of those conversations, do database reactivation campaigns. But in your case, if you get to this point and you're seeing a lead quality issue, you'd move over, okay, take the messaging you've learned, the audiences you've learned, and build out funnels, assets, VSLs, that kind of stuff at that point. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense, guys. Drop a 1 in the chat or a 1 out there in Facebook land in the comments if you found this valuable, and if you want us to keep running with the ad-based stuff over the next few weeks, that's what we're going to be tapping into. Again, if you want to join the VIP, we're about to head into a private coaching session, private Q&A session, and there's a link right up there, right above me somewhere. I probably can almost grab it in Facebook.
I think it's below you while you're live.
Well, then down there.
Then down there, and just look up and down.
Yeah, so somewhere up or down, and you can click it. Link has this magic ability to make you a very important person. So click it, you'll get instant access. If you can't figure it out for some reason, drop a hashtag VIP and my team will be happy to help you out. But we're going over to VIP land to get into that. So everybody else, I'll see you